I started rowing freshman year of college back in fall of 1992. I was hooked probably from the first meeting. I saw a video where the two boats were racing hard. They crossed the finish line. Everybody was slumped over their oars, and I thought that looked really fun and challenging. And I thought that I could do that to myself. I could hurt myself like that. I actually never done any endurance sports before, but funny enough, like I used to play club soccer, and I was never great at soccer. The only part of that I excelled at soccer was the running part at the end. I think I can do a couple things well. I have a natural endurance ability, and I think I do a good job of pushing myself hard. I was diagnosed in August of 2018, right before my 44th birthday. I think the thing that was the most like depressing thing I thought initially was that I didn't think I'd really be able to be a competitive athlete anymore. I thought my days of being a rower were done, really. That was one of the first things, which was really kind of hard at first, because that was sort of how I really that's how I identified myself as sort of as a person for a long time. Was like, I identified myself as like the fit rower guy. You know, that was the source of my self-esteem. And I didn't feel physically good anymore. And I thought my body was moving. I didn't feel as though I could technically row very well anymore. So I felt like I lost a big chunk of who I was, or at least I thought I was going to lose a big chunk of who I was. So, and it's really, this winter has been good in that I've really sort of built up psychologically my thought process that I can still push myself really to the edge. For a while there, I just felt weak and tired after the first year or so of having Parkinson. One thing that's really interesting, I think you can see, I don't know if you can see the camera shaking and whatnot. You can see my hand. Here's what my hand just kind of does normally. My left foot kind of goes, not quite as bad as my left hand. So this thing is going all the time. Whenever I'm awake, basically, it's going right now. I just took my Cinemet not too long ago, so I'm waiting for it to kick in a little bit. But so here's the point of this. One thing that I've noticed when I row, when I'm on the water rowing, there's no tremor. Like my tremor goes away entirely while I'm actually rowing in the boat, like taking a stroke. As soon as I stop, it comes back. The Olympic Training Center in Chula Vista, California. So the facility itself is really nice. The Paralympic group there, so there's like 10 of us from the Paralympic group, but then the entire, I guess you would say, senior men's and women's team, so like the Olympic men's and women's team were there too. So the women's team had there's probably like 25 women there, you know, the senior women, the women going for like the able-bodied Olympic team. And then there's probably close to 20 guys from the senior men's team as well. They were doing the senior team was doing like a selection process for those guys too. So it was kind of cool, fun being around those guys, as well as seeing like the best rowers in the world. Like on the women's side, the U.S. women's team is the best women's team in the world. So they have women on this team who are two-time Olympic gold medalists and things like that. So like seeing them doing their thing is great. And they're really nice. Like, for example, one morning we had to do just like a 1-minute test on the rowing machine for the Paralympic group. And so we're finishing this, we're warming up. We're like just about to start. Right as we're finishing up our warm up and right about to start, the U.S. women, the senior women, come into the room and they start like cheering, like, "Go USA," which is kind of crazy. So yeah, it was fun. So I have this thing which sort of negatively impacts my life in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it's opened up this world. I went to represent the U.S. at the World Championships last summer, which was so cool. You know, I'd never had that opportunity before. So I get to do all this cool stuff, but at the same time, it comes with all this negative stuff too. So I don't know. That's like the thing that I try to like wrap my brain around.